Okay, we are recording. Welcome to the final week of the insulin reset. So, over the past almost 30 days, we've talked about establishing an eating window, and we've talked about crafting a healthy plate. And last week, we talked about movement for increasing your insulin sensitivity. So this week, we're going to talk about some of the other ways that you might accidentally be elevating your insulin without meaning to, and then what to do about it. So, but first, we're going to open up in prayer. Father God, I thank you so much for the wisdom and the understanding and the discernment that you've given us. Lord, I pray that we won't walk away from these sessions with just head knowledge, but that we would have heart wisdom, where we know exactly how to apply everything we've learned. And Lord, for those things that just seem beyond us, that we would know how to ask for help and reach for the guidance available so that we are successful in our journey. I thank you so much for it all in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my notes. One second. Okay, here we go. And one guest waiting. Okay, I'll leave that alone. I've got so many tabs open, y'all. It's wild. Okay, so let's talk about it. Not the tabs. Let's talk about the final steps of insulin and what's causing us to have chronically elevated insulin. So, because so much of our time was focused on diet, it can be kind of frustrating if you're like, Nellie, I'm eating all the good things. I'm doing the absolute best that I can. And I'm still dealing with symptoms that are associated with chronically elevated insulin. And the reason why we spent so much time talking about the other things is because our diet is so tangible, right? Like we can control, we can see what we're eating, what we're putting in our mouth. We can read ingredient labels, but when it comes to stress and even inflammation, those are things that are kind of like hard to grip, hard to put your hands on when you're like, well, I don't feel stressed. So why am I dealing with this issue? Or if you're like, well, I don't think I'm inflamed. How do I, so how do we know? So that's why we spent so long talking about our diet, because we can control that. And then after that, if you're like, okay, I'm still dealing with some issues, well, then now we can genuinely get to the heart of what's happening here. So let's start off talking about the biology of the high insulin loop. So we're going to talk about how stress, we kind of mentioned this a little bit. When you feel stressed, when you wake up in the morning, one of the first ways, the way your body wakes you up is with cortisol, the stress hormone, right? So, and epinephrine is another one of those kind of stressor hormones. You wake up, it shoots that kind of like the adrenaline surge of you need sugar to get through your day. So cortisol says, I'm going to pull it from your bone and your muscle to give you some quick energy so that as an emergency, you have it available. But as you're going through your day, so your body's having a stress response. And as women who are prone to say not eat often, so you didn't train your body to burn fat as fuel, but you also weren't eating frequently, you have no idea that your body is creating this stress response of cortisol coming up to provide fuel for your body. It is not something where something catastrophic happened, where you feel that heart pounding, that stress. This is the kind of stress that just says you need fuel. You need to eat. You're not giving me fuel. We're going to eat you, basically. And your body starts to break down in order to fuel you to get through what you need. You don't necessarily feel it. Okay. And so when you understand that, just as simple as your body needs fuel, you're not giving it fuel, it will get fuel because otherwise you're going to die. And your whole body's thing is about keeping you going. So just the understanding of cortisol, its whole job is make sure that you have the fuel you need. And if it realizes that you don't have that fuel you need, it will activate it. Now, On the other side, we have the inflammation side, where chronic inflammation creates insulin resistance. So I don't want to get too technical on this, but on the cellular level, we experience inflammation. And what happens on the cellular level is, remember I talked about how on your cell there are receptors that, you can, the insulin comes and kind of connects to, and then that's how it gets blood sugar into your cell. Well, when you're dealing with inflammation, all that lining starts getting puffy, and all of a sudden the keyhole that the key of insulin would fit into, it doesn't fit anymore. So now what your body's doing is like, oh great, insulin's not fitting in that keyhole. Let's get some more insulin out here. And now they're like shouldering their way into the cell. They're beating the door down because they can't get in. So now you have inflammation that is causing insulin resistance. And you didn't eat anything that you weren't eating a lot. You weren't stressed out. So, but you've got inflammation that is blocking your body from submitting and receiving the insulin signal. Okay. So let's talk about what is triggering stress and what is triggering inflammation. First, with stress, you have the psychological thing, right? If you're going to work, you have deadlines, you're stuck in traffic, things that feel like a perceived threat. Now, this is like, you could go deep. You go deep with this one, because say you were a child that grew up walking on eggshells, right? So like you felt like there was no space for you to communicate or to share or to cry or to show anger. And you were taught to just push it down, be a good girl, don't step out of line. Okay, well, that has a physiological response where cortisol will rise up in response to that. Where you get faced with maybe someone who is more confrontational, and you don't want to be confrontational. And oh my goodness, now I have to deal with this person. And how do I talk to them? And I don't know what the right thing to say is. Well, there's cortisol right there. Right. And that's the known stressors. And then the unknown stressors are you're not feeding your body in the way that you should. You're not showing up. You're not helping your body feel safe in moments of difficulty. A physical way of triggering stress, lack of sleep. This is a very big one. Women need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And so when we are going even just 6 hours, I know, crazy. You got 6.5 hours. There is an actual physiological response to not getting the amount of hours of sleep that you need. Another way is by overtraining, like exercising. You're going to the gym and you're hitting it too hard because you're like, I got to lose 15 pounds and this is it. And you're causing stress in your body, especially for women with like issues like PCOS, hormonal imbalances. Cortisol is already elevated. And so those exercises that are like they call it high interval training, that's too aggressive for your body. Okay. So those are some triggers for stress. For inflammation, there's dietary. So through your diet, it's eating foods that are high in omega-6, which is all seed oils, soybean oil, canola, corn, cottonseed, grapeseed, all these oils, and it's how it's made. Okay. So what makes oils inflammatory is how they are made. These seeds are crushed, which, okay, nothing bad about crushing a seed, but then they are heated. So the oils are heated to very, very high temperatures, to the point of it being rancid. And then because they smell bad because they were just converted into a rancid oil, well, now they're bleached and deodorized. And they're going through this whole process that completely changes the molecular structure of these seed oils. And so then you eat them and your body doesn't recognize them. They basically seem like a toxic invader in your body. So you could accidentally eat olive oil or avocado oil in a way that's inflammatory. If you use your olive oil to cook food, heat it, and the olive oil starts like smoking, you have just converted that oil into it became rancid, and now it's inflammatory. So when we use olive oil, that's a very low heat point. You want to use olive oil as close to raw as possible. Like, and when you buy it, you want it to be cold pressed, so that there's no heating involved in the making of it, so that it doesn't become rancid. So another dietary way is refined sugars. So these are literally the sugar anything that says added sugar, that's inflammatory. And then having your gut imbalance based off of what you're eating. So eating too many refined carbs, bread, pasta, rice, that is going to trigger inflammation in your body. Okay. And then you have environmental toxins that can cause inflammation. This is fun, huh? This is like, wow, this is a lot of things going wrong. So you could have, say, mold toxicity in your house. And here in Florida, mold grows like in everything, on everything. You have to be so studious on how you clean your house. But mold is so inflammatory, getting into your respiratory airways, triggering all those allergens. And then you end up with allergies, like say to pollen and all these, and you end up with what's called histamine overload. And many of you know, you end up taking antihistamine medications. But that doesn't resolve the issue of your histamine is high. Your body is taking in so many environmental toxins that it has nowhere to go with it. So let's talk about illnesses that are rooted in these two issues. You might have things like, we know, type 2 diabetes, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, cardiovascular disease, because the inflammation is damaging the interior lining of your arteries. So all that inflammatory bits and pieces are causing you to have like plaque buildup, because high insulin promotes plaque buildup. And then you have high blood pressure, and then you have all these heart issues. Cognitive decline, also known as type 3 diabetes. When insulin resistance in the brain goes up, that leads to what's called neuroinflammation, inflammation in your brain. And so these things are all linked to, like, it's not a different root. It's all the same thing. You don't get to choose where inflammation shows up in your body. The only thing you can do is support your body in keeping inflammation down by how you eat, by making sure you're well rested, and giving yourself a pathways to detoxification. And then also hormonal imbalances are rooted in these issues, like PCOS, endometriosis, having cysts or fibroids in your uterus. These are all linked to the same place. But the path forward, even though it's like, oh gosh, Nellie, there's so many things I need to watch out for, they're all rooted in the same thing. So the path forward is the same. Regardless of what health issue you're starting with, the resolution is the same. So what I love is our Heavenly Father created free ways for us to resolve these issues. And my most favorite thing is fasting. Fasting is a free tool. It doesn't matter if you're poor or you're rich. It doesn't matter if you can afford supplements or not. Fasting has been linked to the deepest ways for us to restore our body, reducing inflammation and supporting, when we're doing it in a safe way, reducing stress hormones as well. So, and what fasting does, if we remember back to what fasting, or what insulin was doing, is insulin is responding to food, right? Or fuel, to sugar. And so when our blood sugar goes up, well, insulin goes up to meet it. But if there's no blood sugar, well, then there's no insulin response. And so now when we say with stress, well, stress triggers cortisol. Cortisol creates blood sugar, and then insulin responds to that. And it's that same thing. And then with inflammation, there's not enough weight. There's the pathway for insulin gets blocked. So then that increases insulin, because it's taking more and more insulin to regulate the same amount of blood sugar. With fasting, it keeps insulin down. And if you do that long enough, you trigger what's called autophagy. And that begins at about 16 hours. So you could eat a meal and just wait, including your sleeping time, having 16 hours of just rest. This causes your bodies to go through what's called cellular recycling or autophagy. The word autophagy literally means self-eating. And so what your body will do is it will begin to go through and look for cells that are not functioning at their optimal, or their rogue cells. They have the potential for becoming cancerous. Your body will go in and eat those and clear them away, so that now you have space for new, beautiful cells to come through, cells that function at their best. And all that requires is beginning with 16 hours of rest. So that would be like being done eating at like 5 p.m. and then eating breakfast in the morning. Super simple. Fasting helps to lower the baseline level of insulin, so that if you go into prolonged, like right now, at this exact moment, I am 29 hours into a fast. I started yesterday at like lunchtime, and now I'm going to go till tomorrow morning. This is something that I do regularly, and this was a huge pivotal point in my health journey when I was like, oh, I can fast. Oh, my body responds really well to going without food for a little bit. And when done mindfully, it is very beneficial. And then if we want to integrate, say, lifestyle changes, so we have fasting, and then we have nervous system regulation. So that looks like breath work. That self-touch, put your hand on your chest, breathe in for 6, breathe out for 4. And if you do that, that helps to restore your vagal connection, your vagus nerve, to help you to say, oh, we're safe. There's no bears around here. There's no danger around here. And that will help with bringing down the blood sugar that your cortisol is trying to do, right? So we're regulating our nervous system. That also might look like putting your phone down. That might look like having some boundaries on social media, doing those things that saying, staying away from certain people that you know rile you up as much as you can control, because that is a part of self-care. This is real self-care. It's saying, okay, my nervous system is constantly overwhelmed when it comes to this person or that action or those expectations. So I'm going to set some boundaries here until I can regulate my nervous system, and then craft a plan forward. And then other lifestyle integration is anti-inflammatory nutrition. And this is basically what we talked about, right? High protein, healthy fats, fiber-rich vegetables. When you eat whole foods, and so omega-3s, you can find that in fish like salmon and wild-caught tuna. You can also get that in sardines, and you can also get it in eggs and butter. You know, there's other sources, but fish have been found to see just so like all around amazing superfoods, which is funny because if you say like, I'm going to eat like Jesus, how did Jesus eat? That Mediterranean style, which was mostly fish and olives, you know, olive oil. Like there's a lot of gut healthy, nutritionally dense foods if you say, I'm going to eat like Jesus. And even the bread that he ate was milled flour that had all the good bits in it and not stripped from all its nutrients. Okay, and then the third thing here is your muscles are what's called a glucose sink. Your muscles are meant to store blood sugar and burn blood sugar. And every year past the age of 30, our muscles decline. They decline by 1 to 3% every single year after the age of 30. So if you imagine by the time you're 60, your muscle tone has gone down about 30+%. So one of the best things you can do to help your body combat these issues is by regular exercising. It doesn't have to be crazy, especially if you've gone a really long time without working out, but just something as simple as walking daily, right? We've talked about this before. After your meals, 10 minutes after a meal, walk, use those leg muscles. And then eventually the weight resistance, go, if you're like, I can't go to the gym, go work in the garden. Go do something that feels productive, that includes a little bit of strain. Go scrub something. Deep clean your kitchen. Clean the bathrooms. Something that is going to get you going. And you know what? I'm sure you will feel sore because your muscles are very weak. But eventually that's going to stop feeling sore as you compound strength training. Okay. So that is the heart of this lesson. Inflammation, also when it comes to, say, inflammatory things in your home, that might look like you getting an air purifier or just being really mindful. If you have mold in your house and you know you have mold, that's not harmless. There goes my light. There are consequences to having mold in your house, to having mold toxicity in your home. It's not going to be like, oh, it's mold, it's black mold, that's annoying. No, there's respiratory issues. There's cognitive issues that come from having mold in your environment. And if you're also dealing with allergies, again, high histamine, that's going to have other repercussions. There's going to be a domino effect to having constantly introducing things that are triggering inflammation in your body. Okay. So with that, start thinking about if you have any questions before I open the floor up to questions, because this is our last week together. I want to make sure that I give you a proper invitation into my membership community, the Almost Confident Village. Many of you have jumped in there. You had access for the last 30 days to the stewardship tier. But after this week, you're going to be brought down to the free tier, which is just some of the free resources that are in there, my blog posts, logging some meals, tracking your water. But what I would love for you to do on this journey is to jump into the stewardship level, which is $47 a month. That comes with weekly group coaching. So this is a little different because I did half the time teaching you and then answering questions. The weekly group coaching is literally you coming up, showing up with the other ladies, and you say, okay, this is my win for the week. I am celebrating this progress that I made. And then you might share questions or concerns that you had that came up for you during the week, and I will guide you in that. And then you're going to make a goal for between this week and next week. Small, tangible goals. When we're on, say, a weight loss journey, it's easy to choose weight loss because I walked that of saying, well, I need to lose 90 pounds. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a big deal. But how about between this week and next week? Can we lose half a pound? Can we be mindful of our eating window this week? Can we prioritize protein and water this week? Can we increase our fat intake this week? And then we'll celebrate the fact that you lost 2 pounds next week, okay? And it's going to add up. So that's what I love about the stewardship level, is that I get to talk to you and see your face and give you guidance. And it's just all part of the group. And then we do a monthly group challenge. This month is our glute challenge. It's all about building your glutes, because your glute muscle is so essential for your longevity, quality of life, and it helps with increasing your sink, right? The muscle sink that draws sugar. So with that, I'm going to be dropping in, I think, the chat. I think I see a chat here. Yes. A link to more information about the Almost Confident Village and a link to sign up. And if you choose to sign up from that link, you can use the promo code INSIDER. I had to write it down, INSIDER, and you'll get 25% off the first month. So I'm going to drop those links here. And I would love for y'all, if you have any questions over anything you learned over the past 30 days or questions about tonight's session, feel free to either drop them in the chat or just go ahead and unmute and ask, and I will surrender the floor to you. Okay. There's everything there, and hopefully y'all can see that. Does anyone have any questions?
So your page just showed up. When I clicked on it, it opened it up. So I go ahead and enroll there
Yeah. So you
or
will
later.
click that. If you do the stripe.com, the Stripe link, and
Okay,
do the
hold
promo
on.
code,
I don't know what I'm doing.
that's just a payment link. So the top link shows you all about the village. And normally if you sign up through there, it's not going to give you the discount. Like
Okay.
this is, I want to give y'all an exclusive. You worked with me for long enough. I want to give you some kind of discount.
Okay.
So, but do that, I believe you already have a village. I'm pretty sure you signed up for the village with this whole package. So
I did.
once you purchase the subscription, I'm going to manually upgrade you and keep you in the stewardship level. So
Okay.
nothing changes for you.
Okay. So don't do anything.
You would use after you use that Stripe link, do you see the buy.stripe.com?
Yes.
Click on that, check out, and then you're good to go.
Okay. All right.
And then any other questions? Either about inflammation, stress, what we talked about this previous week, or your journey, because I'm about to free you little birdies to go on your way.
So can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm not sure what I'm doing here with this whole picture of me and the sound. So sorry.
You're
I'm
good.
not techie at all. So I know in my world right now, I deal with a lot of stress,
Mm-hmm.
even though I try not to let it affect me.
Yeah.
And moving to Tennessee was one of the reasons. I mean, that moving up here was a reason to reduce stress because it's much calmer up here. It's like no traffic, it's peaceful. But with Carl and everything I have to deal with him, I feel like I'm two people, trying to take care of everything.
Yeah.
And I keep it together, but I know it's affecting my body. I know it
Yeah.
is. I don't sleep well. I get maybe 3 to 5 hours of sleep a night. That's if I'm lucky.
Wow.
And then my doctor said, or she checked my cortisol, I think it was, and it was normal. But
Mm-hmm.
she had guessed it would be way out of line, but it wasn't. So then it's like, oh well, it's normal. So are you saying then that just the mindful eating, the high protein, the good amount of fats, the eating window, the breathing, the walking is going to regulate all that naturally?
For the most part. Now you have that emotional strain that's gonna be something where you're gonna have to constantly go out of your way of like going outside, getting sunlight and walking. Like those little pockets of break, looking
Uh-huh.
for as many areas where you can just reset yourself.
Okay.
And what gets me on like the whole like you're normal is that um the scope of normal is different for each person. So
Right.
even if it reads like normal for you, for your body, that's overloading.
Mm-hmm.
And so we still have to address the fact that you are dealing with a high stress situation
Mm-hmm.
and that you feel the strain. You're not sleeping well.
Mm-hmm.
Your health is suffering. So like something has to give. And
Mm-hmm.
there's clearly something going on where like for you, your body cannot have that level of cortisol.
Mm-hmm.
And so just something like that. I was saying, sometimes the blood work can be one of those things where our doctors can accidentally gaslight us into saying, oh, you're fine, everything's
Mm-hmm.
okay. But we always have to look at the individual person of like, well, is your body responding as if you're fine?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is no, then we're going to adjust. So for you, again, I would constantly, kind of like how I would coach a mommy with young kids at home,
Mm-hmm.
of like, look for pockets of rest. And for the season, don't push yourself further beyond like with the expectation that you need to do more than what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I like as a high achiever woman, it could be so easy to like, yeah. Like, well, I've got to, you know, scrub down the whole house and I have to do the on the same day, got to do the floors, got to, you know, versus just relax on it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But my biggest blessing has been sunlight of saying, Lord, I'm going to step outside. I'm going to speak to you for 5 minutes outside, walk around in my driveway with the sun beating on my face. That just resets me like nothing else can.
Well, that's good. Yeah. I do try to get up in the morning and go sit out on the porch in that early morning sunrise or sometime.
Yeah.
To be able to benefit from that. So
Yeah.
we're getting there. It's like trying to change a lot of things, but reeling it in and just doing one step at a time.
Yes. Take your time with it. And there's no, even though we covered a lot over the past 30 days, the focus is predominantly on where can you start? What feels doable to you? And then when that starts to feel like it's locked in as a good habit, then we can stack a new habit on that. So your journey might look like a year over or longer. And that's okay because you're slowly, steadily applying consistently the things that feel right to you. You're applying that consistently.
Okay.
You know, so, and that in itself makes a difference. It really does.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Anyone else want to share or ask questions? Oh, I see a question. Steps for starting to fast periodically. I usually hit roughly 14 hours overnight, but not trying to shock my system by mass fasting during the day when I'm active. Okay. So if you're able to make it to 14 hours, I would just push it to 16 and see, can you do a 16 hour? And then now this might be like you do 16 hours for 3 days in a row. And then you might do an 18 hour for 3 days in a row. And then at some point, you're going to get bold enough to jump to a 24-hour fast. And what that would look like is like you eat breakfast, and then you go the rest of the day with nothing. You go to bed, you wake up, you eat breakfast the next day. And it's simpler than you think when you give your body the grace to do it. And something to be clear, you don't have to be like sedentary, like I can't do anything. You can go work out. You can exercise. And as a matter of fact, your body will produce growth hormone in the midst of your fast. And so your muscles will repair faster and they will grow like faster if you work out like weight training during a fast. So trust your body. And a lot of this is mind over matter. The fear of fasting of like, oh, I couldn't possibly. So this is why it's so important to actually have my glucose monitor open. This is why I love tracking my blood sugar. Because when I go through the transition of, there's a moment where your brain, you start feeling a little jittery, a little off, a little like this would be the point where people will say, I need to eat. But that's the point where your body is making the real shift to fat burn. And so it's kind of like your brain is, okay, your brain is going from sugar to now it's getting fat as fuel. But in that little shift, it doesn't have enough sugar and it doesn't have enough fat. Your brain starts going, oh, I'm kind of dizzy. I got to eat something. This is bad. This is bad. This is really, really bad. I'm going to die. But if you go and read your glucose, and your glucose is in normal range, which is between like 70 and 99, if you're anywhere in that range, you don't need to eat. Your body has fuel. And what you probably should do is drink some water with mineral salt, get some sunlight, and stick it out. With it, something about buttercup. Suck it up, buttercup. Like, you're going to make it through. You're welcome. You're very welcome. But that's one of the things I read my glucose twice today because I had 2 pockets of time where I was like, oh, this seems odd. And you want to be mindful because if your glucose does drop below like around 65, you need to eat. You do need to eat. You don't, because it's a very unique like the way your body balances of like, even though you're like, I want to be fat burning. Yeah. But your body always needs just a little bit of glucose and it'll find a way to make it. And it usually will make it from what it has. So, but if your body drops below 65, that's usually like blackout. Like that's like your eyes get tunnel vision, you start seeing spots, your arms start feeling heavy. And like just it's just like you're unsettled in your body. That's where you would need a fuel, and you could just eat fat and say, no, this is your fuel. Like bite a stick of butter. Yeah. Or avocado, and remind your body this is the fuel source that we want. You have plenty of it stored up if you're holding weight. If you're not holding weight, well then you need to be mindful of what you're doing. But I give a whole other counsel to someone who's underweight than to someone who's holding weight. The average person is holding about 100,000 calories worth of fat. So the average person can fast without issue. But if you're someone that's underweight, you're like almost malnourished, well, then fasting is not going to help you because your body doesn't have anything to pull from. And so you either need to be steadily providing a fat source like every hour, or you can't fast. And I've seen ladies who are underweight try to fast and like, I get like high blood pressure and all these different issues. And like, you need a fat. You need fat. Fat is good. So if you're sticking bones, well, we need to help your body understand that it can store fat. So there's that. That's my tangent. Any other questions? Anybody got something to say? All y'all are muted and hid your face from me. Okay. Well, if none of y'all have any more questions, I am going to, oh, something just popped up. What? Sorry, it would have been a jump scare. I doubt it. But if y'all don't have any more questions, I will close the session out, but I'll wait 2 more minutes. If you have any questions, if anything came up for you over the past week or 30 days, or you want some guidance, please do not hesitate to drop a comment or unmute and talk to me. I will not bite, but I might get loud. I'm a passionate person.
Okay, Nellie. So I want to move forward. I told you I needed to wait a week, but I'm good now. So still don't have my car back, but that's okay. Yeah, going on 3 weeks, crazy. But yeah, so if you'll get with me at your leisure, and kind of direct me on how to get started.
I'll give you, after this, I'll send an email out.
Okay.
And we'll get your sessions booked.
Okay.
I guess that's something I should talk to y'all about since y'all aren't talking to me. So obviously beyond this, if you want more guided support, the village is always available. I love my monthly membership. But for some of y'all, it might just look like a one-off 50-minute session where you bring me your labs and your issues and all your health concerns, and I hand you a protocol and you walk away happy. So my question is always, what kind of person are you? Are you a self-motivated, just tell me what to do and I'm going to do it, I will execute it? Or are you someone that's like, I already know kind of what I need to do, but I don't do it because I need someone to hold me accountable? That determines kind of what I offer you. But the 3 ways that I offer support is we have the village, which I talked about. We have the one-on-one coaching. that it's like a one-off. We're going to give you the plan, and you're going to walk it out. Or the other one is kind of like an extended plan where we do a once a month 50-minute call where we dive deep. You bring me everything, and then once a week you're going to check in with me at like for 20 minutes, and most of that is just where's your headspace? How are you executing? How are you feeling about the plans that you're making? Do we need to pivot? Do we need to shift? Is there any area where you feel disappointed or like let down or unsupported? That's a big one. And we just keep doing that over and over again until you feel like you hit it. Many times, so I have clients who the goal is getting off medications. So we keep showing up for each other until they're off medication or until their diagnosis is put into remission. I have one client who she got off of her high blood pressure medication, and she's so happy about it. She's feeling really good. She's running circles around her husband. She's 73. And she's like, I feel so good. I'm keeping up with the grandkids. And she chose to continue working with me every single week because she's like, I need the accountability. She's like, this was what got me here. And so if I let go of this, I know that I'm going to fall back into habits because no one else around me is doing this. And so that's what I make available to her. We do a 30-minute phone call once a week, and she comes in with her questions, or she sends me screenshots of supplements she's thinking of or whatever. And she's just like, teach me, Nelly. So we just go for it. And I love connecting with ladies one-on-one. And then I guess the last thing I offer, I do a retreat. So this is going to be my second retreat coming up in May. This one's focused on eating for health. And basically I'll be cooking for all the ladies in this. I rented a vacation rental, has space for 12, 13 people, women, only women. And everything that I've learned about, like, okay, we're going to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We're going to do some desserts. We're going to hang out by the pool. We're going to like just chill and talk and do sourdough and fermented foods and like just have a really, really good time. But it's going to be like, it's an escape. It's a reset. It's a refresh. Nellie's going to cater to you, and you're going to learn how to take care of yourself. And you'll walk away with my cookbook. And I'm like, I never thought I'd be that person, but I have. So just recipes that we're going to be eating, you're going to be able to access them right there. It's just going to be a really good time. So if that sounds interesting to you, don't hesitate to reach out and know that everything that I offer, everything that I try to do, the blog posts and social media and all that, my biggest goal is to help you understand biblical stewardship, that God created our bodies to heal. And sometimes he heals miraculously. And many times there is a level of stewardship that is called on us to take care of our bodies, the partnership, because he can dramatically heal you. But if you don't understand what you did to get to where you are, you're just going to get back to that sickness. So like if you're dealing with, say for me, my hormonal imbalance is directly linked to metabolic dysfunction. So God blessed me where all of a sudden I went out twice. I got two boys, two kiddos here. Before each one, I went through the process of eating high protein, high fat, and fiber-rich vegetables, no bread, no pasta, no rice, no sugar. And I did it because I just wanted to lose weight and have a better health. And it took me a really long time to link the fact that I got pregnant with them in partnership with my diet changes and lifting weights. And it took me till my recent journey to understand, oh, that's how it happened. It wasn't just by chance. And your issues that you're dealing with, I need you to understand that 90% of it is just how you eat, when you eat. And if we could change how you eat and when you eat, a lot of the things that you're struggling with are going to fade away. Okay. So I have talked straight for 10 minutes. And no one else has dropped any comments or questions. So I am going to bless you all. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you for trusting me, even for a smidgen of your time. It has been such a privilege, and I pray that everything that you've gleaned for the past 4 sessions would have lasting fruit in your life for your health and for the glory of God. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being part of this, and we'll talk later, y'all. Bye.